Good afternoon, all. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday so far. I just wanted to come to you really quick and give you a few reminders and a few pieces of advice as you approach the Unit 7 that is coming up for our class. As you all will notice, I am not in my office. I am not at home. I'm actually in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. My family and I are still making our way back to Georgia from Indiana. We left Indiana this morning and stopped in Murfreesboro. Again, we are literally in a hotel room. We just got here a little while ago. My family is actually downstairs in the swimming pool, and I'm here coming to you through a video, just to give you a few little things to help you out. So the first thing I do want to address in this video is Unit 7. So Unit 7 is the last unit for the class. We are almost to the end. And a couple of things I want you to consider as you approach this unit. So if you've already started to poke around the unit a little bit, you will realize that the text you're dealing with in this unit is Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. It's a very famous, iconic play, one that I know really well, one that I really enjoy, and there's a lot to dig into with this text. So as you're reading through Death of a Salesman, really consider the characters, consider themes and different tropes and things that might pop up as you're reading, and do take note of that, because all of that can really help inform the work that you'll do in Unit 7. A couple of things related to your research paper, and again, look on the course calendar for the due date for that. But the couple of things to consider with that. First and foremost, this particular paper is going to require you to really consider and really develop a true argumentative thesis statement. Now, what an argumentative thesis statement is, and the unit will give you more information about this, but I want to give you my take on it. A true argumentative thesis statement is where you provide an actual argument for whatever text that you're analyzing. So for this paper, you'll be giving me a true argument, an argumentative thesis statement for Death of a Salesman, for a certain something in Death of a Salesman. To give you an example of what a thesis statement is, so let's say you were assigned to read Huckleberry Finn, and you stated the following: Huckleberry Finn is the greatest American novel ever written. So that on the onset might sound like an argument, but it's actually not. Saying that Huckleberry Finn is the greatest American novel ever written is simply an opinion. You know, I could fill this room up with a ton of American literature scholars, and they would all probably say something different. Some people would say Moby Dick is. Some people would say Great Gatsby is. Essentially, you've just created an observation or an opinion. To truly make that an argument, though, you would say Huckleberry Finn is the greatest American novel ever written because, and after because, you would have some kind of statement that would follow up and let your reader know why you think it is the greatest American novel ever written. Therein, you get the actual argument. So do keep that in mind. Of course, this unit will give you more information about a thesis statement. If you have questions about what a thesis statement is, please let me know. I work with students all the time in the Writing Center and through teaching other classes to develop that skill, and I can give you other resources that will help you out. Another thing I want to mention to you within Unit 7 is the research element. So this research paper is going to require you to really look for academic research. And academic research is very different than just any kind of research. Academic research really requires you to look at sources that are credible, meaning if you were to do a Google search for Death of a Salesman, information on Death of a Salesman, it would give you a lot of results, and some of them might be worthwhile, but many of them probably would not. Because if you were to look for Death of a Salesman, some of the big things that would come up through a Google search off top of my head would be Cliff Notes, Spark Notes, E-Notes, things like that. And while, yes, there is information on Death of a Salesman in texts like that, it is not going to be the kind of information you want to use in a scholarly academic paper for a class like this. So this unit will explain more about what academic research looks like and give you some tips and things like that, but also know that you can always reach out to me. Again, that's another thing that I work with students on through my work in the Writing Center and through teaching other classes. I can help you out with that. So those are a couple things to keep in mind with Unit 7. Again, the research paper is not due for a little bit, so do take a look at the course calendar for that, and I'll remind you of it later on, but I want to just give you some things to think about as you approach Unit 7. Now for the things that are due soon. The Unit 7.1 discussion board, that is going to be due, both the post and the 2 replies are due by Monday the 15th at 5 o'clock. So that is coming up pretty quickly. That particular discussion board is going to require you to give me your working thesis statement, or the thesis statement you have generated and created so far as you approach the research paper. It does not have to be perfect, it does not have to be pretty, but you need to provide me with one, and that's what you do within that board. So you'll do that and give me that plus 2 replies to your classmates by the 15th at 5 o'clock. And then Unit 7.2, you'll do your post and 2 replies by Thursday the 18th. And that discussion board 7.2, you will provide me with a revised thesis statement and then your 3 academic sources so that I can evaluate those and give you feedback. On both the 7.1 and 7.2, and this is really critical, I'm going to be giving you feedback in enough time, hopefully, so you can take all of that and apply it to from 7.1 to 7.2 and from 7.2 to the work you're doing in the research paper itself. So do keep in mind that everything you're doing throughout the entire class is built on itself, and everything in this last unit truly builds on itself to get you ready for the research paper itself. All right? And then, of course, the last reminder I do want to give you is the last day to submit late work. So you can still submit any late work, anything from the introduction post at the very beginning of class to the 7.2 discussion board. Any of that can be turned in late to me, but it has to be turned in by Friday, July 19th at 5 o'clock. If I have it by 5 o'clock on the 19th, I will grade it, I will assess it, I will give you feedback. There will be point deductions, but it won't be major. But if I do not have it by 5 o'clock on the 19th, I cannot accept it. It will be a 0. There are no exceptions. I hate to have such a harsh, firm deadline, but I have to set one because your research papers are due very quickly the next week, and then grades are due for this class on the 26th. So the turnaround time I have for grading, especially at this point in the class, is very, very tight. So do keep in mind that due date and the other due dates. Everything's in the course calendar and in the syllabus. And if you have any questions about any of that, please reach out to me. The very last thing I want to mention to you is grading. So I am still working through your Unit 5 writing assignments. I'm going to be grading a couple of those once I finish this video up. And of course, I will be working on your Unit 6 discussion boards as well. My goal is to have as much of that completed by Monday. Doing so throughout this evening and tomorrow is going to be a little bit difficult because I am still trying to get back in town. My goal is to have a lot of this work back to you by Monday with comments. With the Unit 5 writing assignment, I want to reiterate this. I am giving you feedback, but I'm not giving you the kind of feedback I've given to you previously. I'm doing one comment per paragraph with an end comment that will have some kind of incentive in there for you as long as you make sure to read the feedback. So make sure to take note of that. And within the Unit 5 writing assignment too, one of the things that I am going to do is I am going to provide you with feedback for that assignment, but also some things to think about as you move forward to that research essay, things that will be important for you to consider that might be really problematic or really prevalent in the work that you've completed so far. So that's really all I have for you now. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I am going to be on the road probably starting around 10 o'clock tomorrow, but I should be home around in the afternoon time. So I'll be checking email tomorrow evening and continue to grade. If you need anything, do let me know. I'll get back to you as quick as I possibly can. And I do thank you guys for being understanding of my not absence, but kind of being here and there throughout the class over this last week as I've been on vacation with my family. I look forward to seeing your great work. And again, if you need anything, please reach out. Hope you guys have a great one.